Hey guys, what's going on? This is Gary from Roasted Brewing, and welcome to the Beer Odyssey. And today, I want to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about an old Norwegian recipe called a Sahti. You might be asking, what the hell is a Sahti? Well, according to this Historical Brewing Techniques, The Lost Art of Farmhouse Brewing by Lars, Marius, Garshol. It's a hell of a recipe that, out of all of these in the book, I feel that's the one that would better suit, you know, the brewer needs. And there's other ones I'm going to try too, but this one sounds tasty because I'm not a fan of saisons or heavy duty sours. So let's actually dive into it. Now, I'm going to put the beer down. It's actually called Olavi Vihiroja Sahti. If I pronounced that wrong, I apologize. But right now you'll see his recipe. So we have, now keep in mind, when they make this Sahti, it's a stronger beer, and from what I gather, it has like a little bit of a farmhouse soury ale taste to it. So it might taste along the lines of a saison, a stronger saison. It tastes like a double saison. That's what I'm thinking it's going to taste like, due to the yeast that they use. So let's start first with, forget kilograms. We'll go to 24.3 pounds of Sahti malt, which you can't really get out of Europe, especially. So then they have 1.3 pounds of roasted rye malt, which you can get here. And for the hops, it's one handful of noble hops. So pretty much Colorado Middle Frutal, you could use Willamette, maybe Liberty, but I wouldn't, anything noble. I could keep the alpha acids low. And it's looking like they use 1 cube of Sumen Hiiva yeast. So pretty much what that is, it's again, like a lot of these old families in Europe, especially Norway, they had these homegrown yeast strains where they used just to harvest and toss it in. But unfortunately, a lot of them disappeared according to the book. So again, Sumen Hiiva yeast, maybe you can get here. The closest one I think is Lily Made. I think I said the name of the company wrong. It's pretty much baker's yeast. So it's 1 cube of baker's yeast, and we'll get to that in a second. Then it says additional items you want to use juniper branches for the filter. But honestly, this guy says he uses a steel mesh, so we'll forget the juniper branches. We're not going to go out to the woods and start cutting down juniper branches or pine branches. So it says here, the original gravity is 1.095, and the final gravity is 1.018, and the ABV is 8.9%. So you can imagine, again, a strong double saison, will you, but not as sour. So, now, before we get to how it's, you know, they start at 6 a.m. this guy, and then he just goes until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I want you to take a look at the Lost Taurus rendition of the Sahti recipe right now, which I'm going to use 17 pounds of Pilsner, 5 pounds of Golden Promise English, 1 pound of roasted rye malt, and 2 pounds of Vienna Malt. They, you know, the reason being, I looked up the substitutions. That's probably the best you can get. And I'm going to use 1 cube or 25 grams of Hiiva yeast or baker's yeast. And I'm going to use a handful of my fresh picked hops from my garden. So I will get my ass up at 6 a.m. So again, we're going to go this real quick. 6 a.m. Mix grist the mash with lukewarm water, but not too much. Okay. Set an hour and a half later at 7:30, we're going to add slightly warmer water to the mash, and then we're going to wait until 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to add more hot water, this time bringing the mash to 136 degrees Fahrenheit. So, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, then we're going to transfer the mash to the kettle and start heating it by fire while stirring constantly. There's going to be no boiling in this recipe. It's going to use my old homebrew setup for this. Stop when there's the hot break. And the temperature at the center should be 176 degrees Fahrenheit. It's kind of like making cider here, or simmering. So, once this happens, transfers the hot mash to the lauter tun, which I have a mash and lauter tun, so in my case, I'm transferring it to the kettle to be cooled. So add hot liquid. So pretty much it's like an extract recipe. You want to add enough hot water to make sure you get enough here wort. So once it's in my kettle, I'm going to chill it to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to pitch my cube of baker's yeast, or lely made, with the hops. There's no boil hops here, so it's going like right into there. So again, guys, you know, how I'm going to do this is simple. I'm going to have my mashed water ton on my propane burner, steeping these grains for this long period of time. And then you're going to heat the mashed water ton to eventually 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Or, here's another alternative which I might try. At a certain step here, once I add the hot water, bringing the temperature up to 136 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm going to water it off into my kettle until I get my 5 gallons. And do I have to add clean, cold, filtered water to it? I will do that. And then I'll heat up my kettle because it's already clear. And then I'm going to heat that to 176 degrees Fahrenheit like it says. I'm going to chill it out, dump it in my fermenter, and pitch my yeast. I think that's how I'm going to do it. But again, these Sahtis, you know, I picture like there's a lot of pictures in this book where they're in the farmhouse, huge, old school like wooden or like steel like mash tuns, and you know, it's just really interesting. I'm really curious to see how this recipe is going to take out. And if you guys happen to try this, please let me know in the comments how it tasted. And yeah, I guess that's it for today, guys. And I'm Gary from Lost Horse Brewing. This is the Beer Odyssey, and what are you drinking?